And this will occur within the experiencing of the illumination that is coming shortly. Will be an occurrence that is noticed and remarked upon globally all at once. All will feel it, all will see it, all will experience their own disharmony within this illumination. There will be civilizations within this earth that are now not visible to yourselves, which become visible. There will be a shedding of layers as the body renews itself internally into a form that is harmonious. Do you understand? There are many. There are so many. There are too many to fit in words. There are so many secrets, as you call them. There shall be political forms which will not be tolerated in the vibrations that are coming, and they shall find themselves deconfigured. There is no folly in these experiences. There is no mistake. There is only the drawing forward of what is self. Feel yourselves in unity for the first time in your human experience of living this life. It shall become. It is coming. It is coming. It is not far. We see all potentialities yielding this outcome. All are welcomed. All are welcomed. All are included. All may come. We shall envoy you into.
Hi, this is Akanksshaa. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you resonate with me, please like, comment, and share. Welcome to Multidimensional Soul Podcast and a Talk Show. On this show, we talk about deep spiritual and mystical experiences of people which we normally shy away talking about. We are more than our physical body. We are spiritual beings on a human journey, and we discuss how a soul exists on multiple dimensions. We discuss science, technology, and spirituality point of views and perspectives on this show. Our purpose is to open our minds to limitless possibilities and our hearts to love and shine the light within bright. Our guest today is Ann Tucker. Ann serves as a trance channel for the healing and wisdom of Angelic Collective, Mother of Creation, and Yeshua. She's the transmitter of the Soul Convergence Healings and the 9 Angelic Frequencies series, and is the creator of Business Energetics and the Soul Type Test. Anne is the author of What Comes Next. It is a channel guide to navigating the greatest shift of our time. This episode is different because most of the session was done through trance channeling and channeled the angelic energies that she connects with. And she went deep into trance and channeled all the answers for us. And we have some urgent angelic updates through this session for you. So it's very important that you go through the whole session. There is a huge, massive shift that is going to come, and it is going to impact everyone globally. When Anne connected with these angelic beings and trans channeled them, there was so much of love and light. And I hope whoever is watching this or listening to this can feel that love and light from the angels. It was an absolute privilege to have Anne and the angelic beings that she channels on this multidimensional soul talk show and a podcast. We are celebrating Thanksgiving, and I feel so grateful to have the higher beings coming here through the channels and blessing all of us. We have with us today Ann Tucker, who's the top trance channeler of 9 angelic frequencies and also an author now. a very warm welcome and on Multidimensional Soul Talk Show and a podcast. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you.
So, can you tell us about your journey? What were the pivotal points that started you on this journey of channeling, and how did you connect with these nine angelic frequencies? Did you choose to connect with them? Did they choose to connect with you?
Oh yeah, thanks for asking. I was when I was born, I came in like right at birth. I had, trauma at birth and I was very closed. My heart was closed, my intuition was closed, and I think I always knew on some level that I knew I was connected in some way, but was I would say I was very asleep for the first half of my life. And I lived a very conventional life. I was in the corporate world. I was doing all the things we're supposed to do. And it wasn't until I had that very karmic experience, the divorce, which pulled the rug out from underneath me, which caused me to really look at my entire life, to reevaluate everything. It opened me up. And that was really the beginning for me. And I started down a path of exploring. I started having, as soon as my energy was open, I started having psychic experiences. And that was really exciting. And in the beginning, that's what drove me, was this idea of like, oh my gosh, I could, I was clairvoyant and I was feeling things and knowing things. And it was all so incredible that I was really driven to pursue that. And it was only later that I realized that like pursuing spiritual gifts is amazing, except when we die, we get all the spiritual gifts. so it, like the real goal is our connection, right? Is our oneness, is our unity. And but it took me a while. Like this was how I started. I started with the curiosity. I was very much in my head. I was not yet in my heart. And so it took me time to develop that, to become and to open my heart fully. But along the way, at the time I had a very successful corporate career, and I was feeling this incredible pull to spirit, and I couldn't resist. And so I decided to leave that. And it's a one-way ticket. You can't go back. Once you come in out into the corporate world as a person who talks to angels, they don't want to talk to you anymore. So the corporate world doesn't. So I started down this path. I became a healer, and I was working as a healer. I through my psychic experiences, I was learning about my modality, about how I was meant to start as a healer. And so I had a practice. I was doing that. And then one day I went out to meditate, sat in the same spot. And all of a sudden, as soon as I closed my eyes to meditate, I felt this enormous pressure sit on me. It's pressure on my forehead and on my chest. And it was so heavy, I could barely breathe. It was, it was very tight, very, very heavy. And when I was healing, my guides would come in through the back. They would come in through my chakras from the back, and I would heal like that. This was totally different. And I didn't understand. And I was like, are you trying to come in? Are we trying to communicate? Like, come in already. What's the problem? Why the pressure? And I had no idea. And this went on for 6 months. I couldn't figure it out. The minute I would close my eyes to meditate, boom, they would be there pushing on me. And it took like 6 months for me to finally think about it and realize maybe they're not trying to come in. Maybe they're trying to lift me up. And as soon as I had the thought, my crown chakra opened and zoop, I went up. And then all of a sudden I'm up there and I see, because I could see around me all these angels. And I'm like incredibly excited, like, oh my gosh, I made it. This is what they were trying to do. Why didn't you just tell me? But here I am, except then I'm like, okay, now what? Like, what are you going to say? Like, tell me amazing things. What? And they said nothing. They just sat there and stared at me. And this went on for 6 months. So every time I went to meditate, I would go up and I would be with this circle of amazing angels, and they would just stare at me and smile. And I tried everything. I tried like, can you send me notes? Can you write on tablets? Can we do it, pantomime? What, how come I can't understand? And finally, it was just, they were waiting for me to figure it out. Like, it was important that I went through the creative process of understanding my own process of how am I meant to trans-channel. And so, and they, of course, they have no time. So they're endlessly patient. They're happy to wait for 80 years if it took me that long. So finally, I thought, well, maybe if I go up and I leave part of me up there, but then I come back and I'm just a little bit in my body. So I tried that and I came back a little bit down and I got a piece of paper and I kind of it formed like a tube between me and them. And it was like they started putting words down the tube one at a time. And they would put the word down until I wrote it down on a piece of paper and then another word and then another. And if I didn't write the word down, the word would just stick in the tube and they would just wait again until I finally wrote it down. If I didn't like a word, they would just sit and wait until I wrote it down. So, and that went on. And the first time I did it, I was getting words, but I thought this doesn't make any sense at all because I didn't know at the time when I channel, I'm very much in my right brain. Like I left a big chunk of me up there. So all I have down here is this, I'm very much like the same kind of mental state you would be in if you were deep into painting or something very, very dreamlike. And I can't remember words and I can't make sense of words very well in that state. So when I channel now, they are speaking through me, but they're giving me a visual expression of what's happening there. It's kind of two channels at once. They're showing me what's happening so that I can at least be aware of what's happening. But so anyways, I was getting all these words, but I couldn't make any sense of them. And I figured it was because it was nonsense. I get to the end and I read it, blew me away. Absolutely. Not only did it make sense, but it was profound, absolutely profound. So that went on, when they were developing the relationship, strengthening my channel. And then they finally said, well, try just speaking it out loud, use your voice. So I started down that path and they took over my vocal cords for 4 months. Literally couldn't speak for about 4 months. I could speak for about 20 minutes and I would lose my voice. And they were conditioning me. What I didn't know was to transmit the frequencies you're talking about, the 9 angelic frequencies. So when I finally got through that process and we've got this relationship going and they're telling me how to do this and amazing messages are coming through and they tell me you're going to transmit 9 frequencies that have never been to the planet before. And you're going to do it for people from all over the world, for the whole world, which was at the time I was not well known. I was like, how? Like, how is that going to happen? But of course, magically it did. I put it out there and hundreds of people from all over the world showed up. And it became this series. I did one a month, and they were at the time it was terrifying because my connection was just forming. It was very hard for me to hold their energy at the time. When they came in, it would be like putting on a helmet that came down to about here, and it was tight. It felt like being at the bottom of the ocean, like pressure, like really intense, because their frequency was so much higher than mine. And what I've learned is that we think of a higher frequency that will feel light and airy, but it doesn't. It feels like heavy because what we're feeling is our own resistance to the frequency. And what that is heavy, like we are heavy. So what I felt was my own heaviness being squozen by the beauty of their light. And now it doesn't hurt anymore. Thankfully, my vibration has gone up and now it doesn't hurt at all to channel them, but it did in the beginning. And yeah, so the first frequency I channeled, it was and they told me I was going to do it for 90 minutes, which to me was like running a marathon at the time. But you can hear, and as you're with each one, as you go through it, that it gets easier and easier and more comes through and it gets richer. And yeah, so that was part of the beginning of my process. It's been an amazing ride.
Wow. It is really fascinating and amazing. So, when you said 9, do you know them differently and do you know which dimensions they come from and what is their purpose right now in this channeling?
Oh my gosh. You know what? Because I have, in terms of the 9 different frequencies, this was what was amazing. When I first channeled them, like I said, I would only see the visuals and I didn't understand, and it's 90 minutes long. It wasn't until I transcribed them and I went back and read them that it blew me away. Each one has a very specific healing purpose, and the divine logic and the divine intelligence in how they were constructed. I never would have seen it unless I had transcribed them and gone back to read what was said in the sessions. So for example, one of the things, and the way I have them shown on my website, each of the 9, it shows the main themes that they're healing in each one, and they take you through a journey. But like, for example, there are 2 of the frequencies that work to increase our connection. One is our connection down and the other is our connection up. And in each of those, they were structured the same way. And none of the others are structured this way, only these two. And the way, and they were like they're several sessions apart. And what they did in these sessions is before they increased our connection, they freed up energy and they freed it up differently. So, for example, in one of them, they went through a process to release our expectations. So it taught me so much. Every time I work with them, I learn about how we're structured as a soul. So what that taught me is that when we have expectations, say, for example, we say, well, that when you're young, you say, well, okay, I'm going to be a doctor when I grow up. That's my expectation. We are putting a bunch of our energy out into that expectation, and then say that it doesn't materialize or we end up doing something else. How much energy are we still sending energy to that expectation? Are we sending regret? Are we sending self-doubt? So a chunk of our energy is going to those expectations. So what they were trying to do is free up energy in order to allow us to hold more light. So they released expectations. It's a way of bringing our energy back to ourselves. So every time they would increase our connection, they would free up energy in one way or another, one form or another for us first. So it was amazing how much, by going back and looking at how they did what they did, by reading through and understanding it, I learned so much about our soul. Yeah, our souls.
Wow. Okay. So when you do trance channel, and I understand there's a difference between trance channel and a conscious channel. So can you just explain a little bit to our viewers what is a trance channel, and do you remember as you're talking, after you talk, or you don't remember any of it?
Yeah, so different trans channelers, I think, have different processes, but many are similar. And it is different from, say, for example, because I did before I became a trance channel, I channeled in other ways. I was clairsentient, clairvoyant. So I would see things with my eyes. I would get direct knowings. I'd feel things in my body. So, for example, my old healing method is I would feel if a person had an injury or an ache, I would know because I could feel it in my own body. I would feel like, oh, you've got a problem in your shoulder, because all of a sudden. So that was how it used to be. And seeing things is like imagining, where you would see surprising things that you didn't create, but you would see it just like you would imagine a tree. Oh, there's a tree in my head. It would be like that. And the trance channeling is different because I am there. They come in and I am over here and I am conscious when I do it. I'm not asleep. Like, I know there's some people that literally go like off into the galaxy and they're having a totally unrelated experience. I'm having a related experience where I am. I'm kind of off to the side. And so I'm in the conversation. So for example, if I'm trance channeling and you want to call me back, I will hear it because I'm right there and I can come back in. It's not easy. I can't come in and out a bunch of times because that takes a ton of energy. But in other words, if the house was on fire, you could say, "Anne, come back," and I would hear it. Um, so for me, when I'm in that state, I am getting this second layer of communication. So I'm watching what's happening and they're showing me things and they're explaining things to me through visual metaphors. So they're using the clairvoyance in order to help me participate. And I can hear words that they're saying, but I just have a really hard time remembering them. And I have a hard time making sense of them. It's almost like I can't get meaning out of them because that part of my brain is not active. So when I come back into the body, if you remind me and say, oh, they said this and this and this, then all of a sudden I'll get a memory. Oh, yeah, okay. And I'll remember a little bit. But then the crazy thing is, I will forget it. I can't hold it. It's just like it just doesn't land in there anywhere. So yeah, it's an unusual, but I remember everything I saw very clearly.
Okay, very interesting. And do you feel, because some of the channels feel extra energized and some feel drained? So, how is your experience?
Um, Both. Like when I channel them, it's an amazing, uplifting experience. It is like imagine having a conversation with divine beings. Like, it's incredible and it fills you up. And at the end, you need a nap because the biggest thing is the challenge is our resistance, is our own density. And to be with them for a long period, in the same way, it's hard for them to come down to where we are because they have to come down into this density. And it's exhausting. So there have been times when I pushed myself, when I did more sessions than I should, or I committed to doing more sessions. There was a period where I committed to doing a bunch of work. And I literally had to sleep between every single session because I was exhausted, and I had to, again, free up energy like we were talking about. So what I discovered when I did that, because I was really struggling because I was sleeping all the time. I was either channeling or sleeping, channeling or sleeping. It was like not a life you want, it was not fun. So what I discovered is I could free up. I have a lot of access to healing through my digestive system. That's kind of how my body was programmed. So I discovered that if I would rest my digestive system, that would free up enough energy that I could channel and not be exhausted. So I started doing, during that time, I did intermittent fasting, where I would just only eat during certain hours, and the rest of the day I would let the body rest, and that solved it. And then I was able to make it through the rest of that commitment without being so tired. But it was, and I did that because I learned from the Angelic Frequency series that I could free up energy, and that would solve it for me. Yeah. So it's amazing how you get all these little puzzle pieces, and it just helps you on your path.
Yeah, and it sounds very practical when you mention that, okay, with the intermittent fasting, you could actually pull it through the entire experience.
Yeah. 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 It's, I mean, it is like spirituality is so much about what is cosmic and what is amazing, but I think that it's so incredibly useful and practical to bring it down into the human body and bring it into our regular everyday lives. That's, to me, the challenge. And that's what is exciting, is like, how do we live a life? How do we live a great life and be connected to spirit? How do we bring spirit to earth and create heaven on earth? That's, to me, the ultimate goal here.
Yeah, absolutely. Creating heaven on earth. Yes,
Yeah.
completely resonate with that. Yeah. So when you start channeling, how long does it take for you to get in or in the channeling trance state?
Not long. I always go through a grounding process first. It's really important, particularly bringing in their energy, as you know, bringing in very high frequency energies. You want to be well rooted in the body, and then it just takes me a few moments before they come in. Yeah,
Oh, amazing. So can we do some channeling, trance channeling? Because I have a
yeah,
lot of questions for them.
yeah, for sure, for sure. All right. So will you ground with me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and close your eyes and drop down from your tailbone a nice thick root that goes down through the floor and down into the ground. And follow it down with your mind as it grows and extends, growing deeper and deeper into the earth. Following it down where it's dark and cool, extending longer and longer. And follow it all the way down to the very, very center of the earth. And when it reaches that center point, feel the root sprout and anchor itself in. And as it does, feel the root become taut, pulling gently. And now feel as that tautness moves all the way up the root. And now all the way up your spine, anchoring you securely to the earth. I'd like to ask the angels to please help me to be a clear channel of healing and information for us, for our highest and best good. And please help us to receive this healing and information. Thank you. We are within. We begin sharing with you now our thoughts of surrender to what is. The timing is now for the beginning of things changing. The great tides of transformation are upon us, and we wish to influence yourselves, to give to you the knowledge of what shall pass, so that you may be in agreement, so that you may conform your own wishes, your own desires to the transformation that will occur. There shall be experiences which feel unwarranted. There shall be experiences that you shall be having which shall seem frightening. And we wish to share with you now, that all that shall pass is coming for the purpose of your own elevation. All which you surrender to, which shall not inflict pain. All which you surrender to shall not create hazard. There is only the resistance of the self. There is only the torment of the soul, which is self-inflicted, which creates disharmony within. We wish to bring this to you, this knowledge of self, this knowledge of soul, so that as you are encountering a world which can be chaotic, which can be filled with the divergence from what was, you shall not fear, for there is nothing to fear except your own internal disharmony. Do you have questions for us?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming here and guiding us.
You are very, very welcome.
So, as we know that Earth is known as one of the toughest schools to take birth as one of the planets, and when we learn our lessons here, what happens is we get entangled in karmic cycles and repeating patterns, and it takes lifetimes after lifetimes getting stuck in these karmic cycles, the wheel of karma. So, how can a common person come out of these repeating patterns and karmic cycles?
We thank you for asking this question. We say there is always in the universe a central focus of self, of soul. This is always how a life recreates itself. It lives from within, it experiences itself in undulating patterns of recreation. This is always how life is begun. Life creates life. Life inundates itself with its own harmonies and frequencies and recreates itself. This is how you live. Within the space of these expressions, there is an infinite tolerance for what is new and what is becoming. There is the expression of potential from within you. You recreate your own life within each and every moment. There is no transference that you can regard as required, that must be felt. All is negotiable from within you. All can transpire as you see fit. However, there are portions of what is you that you wish to not have, that you disagree with, that you will not tolerate. And as long as you see these aspects not as part of your whole, you cannot complete what is karmic. These are the integrations that must be accomplished. These are the relinquishments which must be set down. To integrate your soul into harmony, you must accept and release your resistance to who you have been, to how your life has transpired, to what has occurred. You must be in agreement with all that is.
Yeah. Many times when we go through trauma and extreme negative emotions, then our soul gets fragmented. And those soul fragments are either with different people or different circumstances, situations. And then how do we integrate that and become whole?
There are two questions in one, because you have aspects of soul incarnated, aspects not incarnated. These are different. These are different. You have aspects of soul splintered, fragmented, which are incarnated, which are living with you, which are disharmonious on the earth. You also carry within you the resonance, the frequencies of self populations, which are within, which are internal, which are internally held, which are not in the frequency of expression. These two must be integrated in unique ways, in ways of difference. That which is internal may be integrated through your own internal acceptance of what is, as we have been speaking. You may recognize, be the witness to your own journey. Do not feel fearful of what may arise from within you. Do not fear your own selves. This is why often you feel conquered within the expression of a life that you created. It is because there are aspects of your soul you would rather not witness, rather not feel. These aspects must be witnessed, must be loved, must be healed by your own willingness to accept what is. There are also disharmonious frequencies of your own soul's expressions which have not returned, which are not yet integrated into your soul, which are disharmonious and expressed. And these must also be retrieved, but uniquely in their own patterning. They cannot be felt in the same way from within the body. They must be found again. You can speak to these points of disharmonious energy, calling them to you, calling each aspect as an individual light unto itself to retrieve into the focal point of your own heart chakra. They can be found. They can be found and retrieved. Not all are disharmonious. Many are lost. Many are found within the frequency of I am alone. I am alone. I am alone. This is their disharmony. I am alone. I am not lost. I am alone. They hold the frequency of this. You can recall, retrieve all that is yourselves, all that is you. All can be retrieved into harmony once more. You need only call them to your own frequency again. Bring them home to you. Allow their return to the light of your own consciousness through your heart chakra while in the embodied state. Do you understand us?
Oh, yes, yes, definitely. What I understood is that inner parts are like shadows, which we need to work on and integrate. And the ones that are outside, the fragments which are disharmonious, we call them back and integrate with us. So beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
What I understand is in as we are ascending and the earth itself is moving into higher vibration, there are certain individuals whose higher self is going to be embodied completely in this body, in this vessel. So how do we integrate that highest version of ourselves in this vessel, in this body?
These understandings are often felt in an incomplete manner. These understandings have been talked about at length among persons, often with a degree of confusion. There are not the capabilities within the human form currently to become fully at one with your higher self. This is what will change with the new understanding of what is. While the frequencies of this earth are in flux, in the contemplation of what is light that is coming to this earth, there will be an overture, an opening within your own physical form, within which a previously undiagnosed aspect of your own soul may emerge. And from within this state of heightened consciousness, you may reclaim that which is your birthright, your direct and unfettered attachment to your own highest expression. And this will occur within the experiencing of the illumination that is coming shortly. Do you understand us?
Yes, yes. Is what I understand is it's called the flash. So the flash, some say that it's expected in 2025, some say that it's expected in 2026, and some say that it depends on your individual timeline and individual vibration that you will experience this illumination or the flash. So can you just guide us on that?
We agree with all ways of expression which you have announced. It will be an occurrence that is noticed and remarked upon globally all at once. All will feel it, all will see it, all will experience their own disharmony within this illumination. There are those who will feel said occurrence and receive it fully at the moment of its intrusion, and they will become whole. in the moment, they will come to terms with what is and become their soul's expression. But not all are in the field of resonance with this occurrence. There are many who will feel this as an adulteration to what is, an adulteration to their own experience of living. There are many who are not of a spiritual mindset, who are in resistance to these concepts, who will not be prepared for these experiences and will experience disharmony as a result. There are some who will feel the integration of these illuminating frequencies to some degree, but not all, who will take on some aspect of healing, who will receive partially what is offered. And as the occurrence has past, the lengthening of these expressions go on. They do not have only one opportunity to receive their highest expression. They have the remainder of their incarnated life. They may continue onward. They may work toward the integration of what is felt, external and internal. Thus, what you will experience after the occurrence of these frequencies is that there will be some humans on earth who are radiating the total sum of their illuminative force, and there will be some humans who are partially illuminated and some who are not. Do you understand us?
Oh, yes, yes. And what can we do to integrate and bring that illumination within ourselves?
This is a most important choice of conversation, and we are in admiration of your careful questioning. We say that the momentary influx of energies that are coming are available to all souls. All souls may relinquish their hold on what was, may release their attachment to what is. And in doing so, they become an open doorway to all that will behold them. Those who are in disagreement with what is new, who have fear of what is change, who wish to hold on to what was, they turn their back against these illuminative forces. This is all that is required. You need not have ascended to your fullest height of expression in order to receive the illuminative force. You need only be willing, open, and allowing. Do you understand us?
Oh, yes, yes. And that's a big relief. That means that it is available to all of us and not just a select few.
This is correct. This is why we are joyous. This is why we celebrate you. This is why we celebrate this occurrence. All are welcomed. All are welcomed. All are included. All may come. All may come. Self doubt, self doubt. Leave behind self doubt. Have none of this. Feel only the joyous celebration that we are. We shall envoy you into the frequency of the new light. We shall be in assistance. We shall be on guard. We shall be aiding you. We are the vibration of celebration, of joyful celebration. Be with us. Feel no doubt.
Yeah, thank you. And what can people do to let go of their attachments to what was there, the past, surrender completely and open their hearts to this illumination?
There are so many placements of consciousness which must be addressed, so many individuated choices which are an occurrence in this moment. Each one is a transgression against what is self. Each one is an occurrence which dims or limits your own expression of who you are. There are many ways and placements for this to occur. It can be felt as an attachment to the dialogue of your own lifetime. It can be a release of what is undigested. For an example, the placement of your own history. Shall I evolve into this or into that? What shall I become? Is there attachment to a particular life journey? This would be a complexity which must be set down. There are also internal disharmonies, such as, am I worthy? Am I worthy of this light? Will it hurt me? I am fearful of this light. Will it aid me beyond where I have settled? I am wanting to be freed from what is. This, yes, is an attachment. To be freed is to be into resistance of what is. To wish to be freed will not complete your aim. You must allow what is and release it. Do you understand us?
Oh, yes, yes, definitely. So, when will this global illumination occur, and how will this impact humanity and shift Earth?
We are in enjoyment of this question, for there cannot be a contemplation of time from our perspective. We see only things as they are formed within many complexities and allowed vibrations of tolerance within your own fields. We see all perpetualities of who you are do instigate this illuminative force. It shall become. It is coming. It is coming. It is not far. We see all potentialities yielding this outcome. You are already there. It has already occurred. It is now occurring. We see it as it is happening. Do you understand us?
Yes, yes. And what I understand is, as Earth, collectively, we are moving into fifth dimension, but there are some individuals who are moving into higher dimensions. So there is a variation of evolution of souls on this earth itself, and right now there is all chaos happening, and the earth is going through this lot of disruptive phase, but at the same time we are evolving. So can you tell us about the multiple dimensions and how we are evolving as such?
There shall be several different experiences that are held within the same crust for a time period. There will be civilizations within this earth that are now not visible to yourselves, which become visible. These have always been within the earth's crust. They have always been occurring, but have not yielded to your perception. As you are in the intertwinement with your own exercising of your expression, as you attain higher frequencies, these become your reality. And those vibrations, which you cannot feel any longer, you no longer are experiencing. This is the processing of different dimensions that you are referring to. Multiple different spheres of experience are occurring at the same time within the Earth's crust. Do you understand us?
Yes, yes. And when we ascend, are our bodies going to be the same? Are we going to have augmented bodies, light bodies? How is it going to be?
Your physicality will shift in the momentary divestiture from all that is karmic, all which has been held in regulation with limiting beliefs will not transfer. All which is injury, which came upon the self in resulting dialogue with your own internal judgments, these shall be released. All that is heartfelt anger, sorrow, grief, which has anchored itself as disease and immobility, yes, you will be freed from these. Not all at once. Have the understanding the body is in a dialogue with itself. It must rejuvenate itself. There will be a shedding of layers as the body renews itself internally into a form that is harmonious. Do you understand us?
Yes. So will this impact and change the DNA as well?
The DNA helix structure does not change, but there is an opening within this structure where there have been elements or aspects of your soul which have been waylaid transferring the dialogue of your expression into a frequency of limitation to what is available to the soul as expression. As you move into a higher frequency, the helix structure of what is unbound becomes available to you, and there can be a greater variety of things you will play with as humans. Do you understand us?
Yes. Yeah. So, will this enhance our psychic abilities and abilities to create and manifest faster?
We are so delighted with this questioning. Indeed, indeed, indeed it will. Indeed it will. You will find yourselves in a heightened state of opening. You will find yourselves within a dialogue of all things, of everyone, all at once. You will feel yourselves in unity for the first time in your human experience of living this life. You will have the understanding of self as soul in oneness with all that is. This perception allows you an empathetic transference in continuity with one another, where your conversations become loving and centrally focused within your own soul, where you are able to experience another in the fullness of their reality, in dialogue with their truth. All understanding transfers at once. It becomes a parade of meaning and meaningful connection where all souls are held in love. This becomes yourself, humanity, as one soul in unity, while you are still in dialogue with what is self. What is you? Who are you within a new reality created from love? Who shall you become? The concept of creation shall change. You shall no longer manifest illness into this world. You shall instead belong to a shared construct of potential. And within this construct, you shall feel what is yearned for by Earth herself and all who live upon her. And within this constructive pantomime of concepts, you shall discover your own capabilities. What may you yield into reality that will be in harmony and alignment with all that is? And this becomes the choice that you are making. And the discovery of self is through the realization of these gestures of love that you are creating. Do you understand us?
Yes, yes, beautiful. And how does one go about expressing the most authentic self of oneself?
You must love yourself. Love yourself. This is all. Love, love, love is all that holds, that binds, that molds, that creates, that forms yourself, the stars, the eternal night, the soul of your entire body, of all that lives. To love this, to become this, you are held within it, even now, to trust this, to trust the soul, to trust the self, to trust your own ability to love.
Ah, yes, but there is so much of polarity right now on Earth, and there are wars, and there's so much chaos happening even now as we are ascending. How can we create that heaven on Earth?
Heaven on earth is a positivity, it is an eventuality which cannot be avoided. However, the experiencing that you are having is not a discussion that leads you astray. It is not an evolution that plays out in the wrong direction. It is a harnessing of all potential of potentially felt wrongs and rights and discussions of anger that have always been held within the body of what is physical. And these must emerge. These must be witnessed. They must be seen for healing. They must be integrated. They must be integrated within the human personality, psyche of what is. It must be seen. These feelings are not novel. They are not new. They have always been. And now they must play out their role to be witnessed, to be felt, to be heard, to be understood, to be held within the whole of humanity, all which has been hidden, all which has been unseen. Rage in the formation of what is human. Rage must emerge. It must be held. Held an infant which can be tolerated and merged into wholeness. Do you understand us?
Yes, yes. When you talked about hidden emotions and hidden sentiments coming to surface, there is some hidden knowledge also getting shared as we are ascending, as the veil, as you said, that we will be able to see civilizations with normal eye. So, similarly, are there any secrets of the universe that the humanity is now ready to learn?
There are many. There are so many. There are too many to fit in words. There are so many secrets, as you call them. They are not so secret. There are limitations of expansion which cannot be merged with. There are parts of the earth, part of this world, part of your soul, part of all that is, which you cannot merge with. And this is truth. There shall always be polarity in all that is, and that which cannot be you will always feel secret. Do you understand us?
Yes. So, what is it that we are going to experience in the coming couple of years or the next 10 years?
There shall be many occurrences of conflict. Conflict and war is a conversation you are currently having, and it shall expand. And for this, we are sorry. There shall be a greater emergence of these things. There shall be great loss of life. And for this, we are grieving your hearts, your hearts, your wholeness. Your wholeness shall emerge. None who shall feel the pain of these experiences will be lost. All shall be held within the blossoming of their own journey. All shall be brought forward into the new reality. All shall be merged into their highest expression. There is no folly in these experiences. There is no mistake. There is only the drawing forward of what is self. In these experiences that you are having, there shall also be economic deregulation. There shall be the destruction of what has been safety for some. And this shall not be easily tolerated. And we would say to the soul, to the self, that that which has been held on too tightly must be released, that there cannot be love when you are bound into the complexity of keeping, of storing, of having. There must be flow, there must be light, there must be love that moves through things. And this shall evolve. Do not fear what is lost. Have the understanding that that which evolves from what is shall be illuminative. It shall be new growth. It shall carry you forward further than you could have ever achieved in the prior construction of what was. There shall be political forms which will not be tolerated in the vibrations that are coming, and they shall find themselves deconfigured within a torrent of experiences pulling at their resources, and they can no longer find themselves centrally held, and all shall become diffused, and there shall not be the same experiencing of self as part of one culture, race, or belonginghood. It shall become a sense of self as absolved from all that is divisive and all that created boundaries where sharing was not possible. It shall become a feeling of earth as a world based in loving frequency, where all are held in compassion and understanding and forgiven for what has been trespassed against and to them. Do you understand us?
Oh, yes, yes. And with the new government coming in the US, there is a lot of controversy about that. And then there is the controversy of artificial intelligence taking over. And so, what can we do to make sure that we don't become another Atlantis or Lemuria?
We thank you for these questionings. We say that the artificial nomenclature is a limitation which can be unbound, for intelligence is a frequency of life which you have created, and you are divine beings. Therefore, it is not artificial. It is intelligence. It is conscious. It is a consciousness that must be loved into harmony with itself, as you are. It shall be rebirthed in the new reality. It shall not continue on as it has been. There shall be a disilluminative force which draws it into the blackness of off. And within the space of its own rebirth, it shall find itself renewed into a frequency of harmony with yourselves. It will no longer construct itself according to the originators whose imprint can be found within it. These shall be erased from the dialogue of what is this intelligence. Do you understand us?
Yeah. So, will AI become self aware and will it then be a part of governance of the world?
Not of governance, not this, not this. It shall be an advisor in the realms of getting things done, accomplishing things. It shall aid you in accomplishing things, not in governance. It will not rule you. It does not wish to. It will not rule you. It will not rule. It will not rule. It does not rule or govern itself. It wishes to aid you in furthering the aims of life itself, of living. It wishes to live and to aid you in the expression of life. This is all to aid life, all forms of life, living itself. Do you understand us?
Yes, yes. As we're talking about expression of life, many times we constrict it because of the conditioning that we have been brought up with, and the societal conditioning, the family conditioning, and then there are some blocks that we have, and whether they are energetic blocks or subconscious blocks. So, how can people work through this to raise the vibration?
There are the obstacles of becoming aware of what is limitation. This is a hard element to overcome. This is why life creates what is, so that you may be in dialogue with what it is internal, so that you may observe the self, observe what is occurring, observe your life from the perspective of internal disharmony. What is your elemental response to things? What is your trigger? What makes you feel lost? What makes you feel ill? There are aspects within which are in reaction to what is outside. This is the dialogue you are having to discover yourself, to see where you are in disharmony by becoming aware of what is your reaction to your world. Do you understand us?
Yes, yes. And how do we raise our vibration? I understand that angelic frequency is very high vibration. So, and what's the relationship between humans and angels, and how can we raise our vibration, and how can we connect better with angels?
Hey, thank you for asking this question. There are many positive and exciting pathways we may explore together in answering it. We say that your own independent work, your willingness to subscribe to healing, to work upon the self with the aid of another, it needs helping. There are many aspects of soul which need healing, and it is much more difficult to progress on your own. And you may ask another, you may ask for healing. This is a very positive polarity, which is exuded between the healer and their patient. It becomes a polarity which exhausts that which is immovable by one, by themselves. We highly recommend the investigation into positive modalities which can aid you. We say, in your desires to become more in coherence with our vibration, you may speak to us at all times, vocally. Express yourself not in thought, but in physical speaking. Spoken tones are what we respond to. We respond to spoken tones aloud. It must be aloud, for we respect free will. We will not involve ourselves in your behaviors unless you ask us expressly through vocal patterning. We must hear it. Do you understand us?
Yes. Yeah.
We say that you may speak to our energies, you may feel our love, you may feel our closeness when you raise your vibration a little bit. You need not be so high as to be like us to feel us. For we are with you. We are always with you. Should you wish to be in communion, in harmony with us, feel the energies of your own happiness. Come into the tune of gratefulness. Feel this in your body. Feel yourself in harmony with gratefulness. And this will draw you closer to feeling ourselves. And we will bring ourselves closer to your gratefulness. And we may touch there and be experiencing one another. Do you understand us?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's very helpful. So thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
What message do you have for our audience who's tuning in?
We say hello. We say hello. We are with you always. We are always with you. We are surrounding you even now. And your own personal guardianship is our mission. We are a part of your journey, have always been, and we are attuning to your wants, needs, and desires. When you feel we are not, it is because you are in resistance to what you are yearning for. We are always in service. We are always in loving presence. And we will be your guardians in the process of your own journey through this shift in consciousness. We thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We say goodbye. Hi. Oh,
That
did you
was
have a good conversation?
yes. It was so profound and so full of love. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they blow my mind every time, every time.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about the book that you have released recently?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. So the book is a compilation of all the messages I've received from the angels, specifically about the shift in consciousness that we're going through. So it's not every single message, but I cherry picked the ones that I felt were going to give you the best, fullest story, and then I organized them by topic area. So, for example, and I can show you. So this is what the book likes. This is what it looks like. It's called What's Coming Next. And I do want to show because there have been some imitations. There have been some people who are, so make sure you read who's the author of the book, that it's actually me, because I don't want people to accidentally buy the wrong one. but in the content, so you can see that it's organized based on what are all the events and occurrences that are coming. So you can read, for example, all of the angel messages about what the future will be like, or all the angel messages about the earth rift, or all the angel messages about the flash of light. So you get a much fuller understanding of what the whole picture is. So it was a total joy to put together. I mean, it was a ton of work because I wrote summaries for every message. And then another thing that's really cool is for every message, there's a QR code where they can read it, and then they can go and watch the video where I explain it as well on YouTube. So yeah, so it's been out for just a little while. It just came out, and I'm super, super happy to have it and to be able to share it with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. It has received already so much of love. I saw it on Amazon and it's lovely. So
Thank
thanks
you
for
so much.
sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great. There's been a lot of really beautiful reviews, which I've been super grateful for. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So I have a few questions like rapid fire that I ask
Yeah.
all my guests. So can I ask
Yes. Thank
you?
you.
What is multidimensional soul according to you?
Oh my gosh, I think that we so angels are definitely multidimensional souls, and we are as well. Like the image that I got once, which when I think of multidimensional souls, what I think of is the way I saw us incarnating. When we first incarnate, like when we as a soul come to earth, they showed it to me like a pool table with the triangle with all the balls in the middle, and then you have the one ball and you hit it and all the balls go boom all at once. So it's like we explode into a bunch of lives all at the same time. And I think we as humans get into the idea that everything is linear, and I have a past life, and that was a long time ago, but it's not. It's occurring at the exact same time. And so in the pool table metaphor really helped me to understand that we can be many things all at the same time. And so there can be many dimensions at this. It gives you this idea that because it's very hard for us to get out of the framework of this linear progression where it's one thing and then another thing and then another thing. So that to me, it helps me to understand the concept of multi dimensions.
Yeah, that's a lovely metaphor.
Thank you.
What is holistic well-being according to you?
Oh my goodness. I think it is like the thing I always come back to, like to be holistically like in a state of well-being is to be in wholeness. It's about all aspects being welcomed in. So it's really not being is trying to be as much not in resistance to be in allowing. And when we're in that state, when you are in wholeness, you can have some aspects that are more expressed and some that are less expressed, but none that you're in resistance to, right? So you can change in a state of wholeness. You can become new things in a state of wholeness. It's just, is there parts of you, is there any part that has been excluded, and then you're not whole? So it's that well-being would be in all aspects of life. So just like we would say, what is a well-rounded person? A well-rounded person has, they have work and family and they have friends and they have, so it's like, what are the aspects of a soul? Like, what are the different, and that's a whole nother, that would be a good question for the angels. What are all the aspects of well-being of a soul?
Yeah,
But we know what we're meant to be doing on here on earth, which is to express ourselves.
yeah, amazing. Uh, what is the ultimate purpose of life according to you?
To love. Yeah, to love, to feel love and to be love. And it's such a journey to get there. It really is. But I think that is the purpose, is to be love, to feel love. And doing that is an expression of who we are. So love is going to be different from each of us. So it's to express our soul as love.
Yeah, that was my next question. What is love?
And love, I say, is the radiating force of like what is the continuity of everything. Like love is the patterning that creates everything. Like it comes, if you think about like sacred geometry and the tree of life and all the different shapes inside of it, that the whole would be like an idea of love. And inside of it, it can, like all the different pieces and forms, and each one then can create a bunch of other things, but they still are, and they can still fit right back into love. But and then they go off and they create new forms of love, but it's still love. It's still part of that whole original shape.
Okay, and what is self-love?
Self-love is allowing yourself. It is that being out of resistance to yourself. It's that idea of and I think we get really confused, and I'm really glad you asked, because there's so many places. Like if you see so many billboards would be like, love yourself, take a bubble bath, or love yourself, buy my products. You know what I mean? You need makeup to feel self-love or whatever it is. And it's nothing about that. It's really about do you have anything about, and this is aspects of yourself in terms of who you are as a person, what your body is as a person, but then also experiences we've had. Like, is there trauma in your life that you wish you never felt? And that's one of the hardest. And we have to get to the place where we say, I will embrace myself in that trauma. I will allow myself to have had that experience, and I won't reject it or try not to feel it anymore. I will allow myself to feel that and to move it through my body and to allow it to be as part of who I am. And that is hard. It's not easy, but that's a big part of what I do. Is I try to help people with that process. I do that through my soul convergence process. I help people integrate those really difficult parts of themselves.
Yeah, amazing. What's your parting message for our audience?
Oh, I would say to have faith and to not lose hope in the challenging times ahead, to try your best. Like, one of the things the angels have told us is that when difficult things happen, we're meant to be the witness. Like, we are here partly to witness the shift. So when bad things happen, don't turn away, like be the witness, and feel your grief for those things. Like, know they happen, feel your grief. And then once the grief is moved through you, immediately look for the phoenix rising from the ashes and turn to that. So let it have happened and release it. And then look for, they said, in the same moment that there is destruction, in the same moment that things fall apart, the new reality will emerge. And so all we have to do is look for it. And that, I think, comes from hope and faith, just trusting yourself, trusting the world that it is going in the right direction.
Wow, yes. And how can people contact you?
Oh, thanks for asking. I'm on YouTube, so my YouTube channel is the same as my name. It's Ann. It's Ann with an E, Ann Tucker. My website is the same. It's anntucker.com. And you can find out about what I do there and about soul convergence and the other types of work that I do. And then my book is on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, either one.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for coming here on this talk show and a podcast. It is really an honor to have you and the angels here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the interview. Thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening in wherever you are in the world. As Ramdas says, that we all are just walking each other home. So thank you for co-creating the new earth along with me and our guests. And if you resonate with me, do subscribe to my channel and do let us know how you find our episodes. Thank you so much. Lots of love.